10 big questions that the Dodgers still need to answer this offseason. We've got an update on Jarren Duran, a possible Dodgers trade target. What is the latest and why it's not necessarily a good update. Also, a former Dodger retires, and Alex Vesia did something pretty rare in the postseason. All that more coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got one in a parade. We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series.
Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock.
Monkey magic.
Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone.
Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is Dodgers Dugout Live with your host, Doug McKain.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I cover the Dodgers for Dodgers Nation, a credentialed member of the media. Now, if you're new to the channel, do us a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and if you want to support every single episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the best way to do it, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and also drop a comment down below. We want to hear all your takes on all things Dodger baseball. So, yes, also, this show is brought to you by the LA Sports Report, my new show covering all things LA sports, so subscribe to that, and the Dodgers Nation Discord. Definitely join that. Dodgers fans talking ball 24/7, 365. I asked you guys over on the X for the Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show. I asked you, do the Dodgers need to add an outfielder this offseason? If so, who? And 77% say yes, while 23% say no. There's a commenter, SoCal Golfer, says Duran, so you want to see Duran. We'll talk about that. I've got an update on Jarren Duran. I also kind of spoke to some people that cover the Red Sox. Got some nuggets with that. But, hey, yes, it is that weird time period where everyone's clocked out, the laptops are shut, and it's, hey, don't talk to me, don't call me, don't send me an email until the new year starts. It's that weird window, everyone's just chilling. Not me, not you, not Dodgers Nation, because there's a reason why this team's gone back-to-back, because it's 24/7, 365. There's still so much work to be done this offseason, so that means that there's still Dodger baseball to talk about. There's so much to get into, so let's get right into it.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
All right, so the hottest story in Dodger baseball. Well, let's get you caught up in what the Dodgers are still involved in and what they still need to do. And we're going to start with Jarren Duran. So Jarren Duran is a very popular player amongst Dodgers fans because he plays with a certain fire, an electricity. He's a speedster on the base pass, one of the fastest players in the league, leads the league in triples, can get you doubles. A couple years ago, played in electric center field. He's from Southern California, so there's that as well. Well, we do have an update on the asking price as far as what the Red Sox are looking for Jarren Duran. What is the prospect capital cost going to be? What kind of haul are they looking for? This is from ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan, who wrote about the Red Sox and what they're looking for Jarren Duran. He said, quote, "The Red Sox believe Duran is worth a front-of-the-rotation starter. At this point, no one has been willing to pay that. Considering the return the Rays got for Shane Baz," that was a pretty crazy return. Considering the return they got for Shane Baz, teams are going to be that much more emboldened to price starting pitchers very aggressively, even with the paucity of good bats left beyond at the very top of the free agent market. So to kind of unpack that and dissect that, what does that mean? What is he trying to tell us there? Well, what did I say on this show pretty much a month ago at this point, at around the winter meetings? What I heard when I was down in Orlando talking to Red Sox beat writers and insiders and things like that about whether it be Abreu or Jarren Duran, one thing they told me was, hey, if the Dodgers were going to get a deal done with Duran, it would have to require a starting pitcher, and the name that was floated to me was Tyler Glasnow, and this was before all of the Tyler Glasnow trade talk. So I was kind of mind blown by, wait a second, I thought if you're going to trade Tyler Glasnow, you're going to be involved in any type of Tyler Glasnow rumors, that is going to be in a trade that's involving another starting pitcher, a pitcher of the caliber of Tarek Skubal, arguably the best pitcher in baseball, along with Paul Skeens. So, yes, the Red Sox are shooting high, and I think that this is going to stabilize a little bit. I think what's in play here is the fact that you still have Kyle Tucker, you still have Cody Bellinger, you still have Harrison Bader. There's still a lot of free agent outfielders still on the market. Now, when those players ultimately sign with teams, that could mean a couple different things about Jarren Duran. Either teams that were interested in adding an outfielder, maybe they missed out. And because of that, then they're going to be willing to pay up more to get Jarren Duran because they're a little more desperate at that point because, hey, there's not a lot of roses left in The Bachelor, right? And a lot of those roses have been given out. You're looking for one of those roses, and so you're a little bit more desperate if you're one of those teams. Now, I don't think the Dodgers will ever get to that point where they'd be so desperate for Jarren Duran that they would say, hey, here's Tyler Glasnow. Here's Tyler Glasnow for Jarren Duran. Would they trade an Emmet Sheehan for Jarren Duran? I think they'd consider that. Would they consider other starters that are not in that big four, Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Blake Snell, and Tyler Glasnow? I think they would, but would they give up one of their big top dogs, the Murders rotation, one of those big four? I just don't think they would, just because elite starting pitching comes at a premium. Did I remind you that Tyler Glasnow, when he was on the mound, the Dodgers were undefeated this postseason? Can I remind you that Tyler Glasnow, yes, he is overshadowed because of all the talent that the Dodgers do have, and they have some of the best players and pitchers in Major League Baseball. But on most teams, not some, not half, but no, on most teams in Major League Baseball, Tyler Glasnow is either your number one starter or, at worst, he's your number two starter. So let's not forget that. He is that good. He is that nasty. I mean, just look at the postseason that he had. 21 in the third innings, posted a 1.69 ERA. In Game 7, he went 2 1/3 innings, gave up a run. The day before that, goes an inning, gave up no runs. He was huge in Toronto, pitching both of those games. Tyler Glasnow is a certified postseason dog as far as I'm concerned. And let's not forget that he pitched those nasty innings when he pitched an absolute gem against the Phillies in that extra innings game, Game 4 against the Phillies at NLDS, where he gave no runs on 2 hits and 6 innings of work, 8 strikeouts. He was phenomenal. So, look, my stance on Tyler Glasnow is the same. You want to flip him for Tarek Skubal? By all means. You want to flip him for an outfielder, and then all of a sudden you've got 3 top dogs as far as elite ace-level pitchers in Blake Snell, Yamamoto, and Shohei Ohtani, where all 3 of those guys have dealt with different injury issues throughout the years? The answer is an emphatic N-O with capital letters. I am not trading away Tyler Glasnow for Jarren Duran. There is no world I'm doing that. Now, let's see what happens with his market, but that's where they stand with Jarren Duran. I just want one Duran. I don't even want Duran. I just want one Duran. That's Jarren Duran potentially. The other thing, too, to consider there is, as good as his upside is, and I definitely think he has the potential to be an all-star caliber bat, especially in this lineup where he'd be happy. Let's not forget that if you trade for Jarren Duran, you're trading for a player that throughout his career has been a lot better against righties than against lefties. A 620 OPS versus lefties compared to an 837 OPS versus righties. You mean to tell me the Dodgers are going to trade a ace-level pitcher in Tyler Glasnow with multiple years of contract left for a player that has platoon-ish angles to him? I just don't see that happening. I'm not saying I'm not interested in Jarren Duran, but not at a king's ransom, not at that price. Look, he's an impressive player. 4.7 WAR season last year. He can do a lot of really, really cool things, and I think, hey, if he can be productive and he can be a star for the Dodgers, I truly believe that. But in the words of the great Randy Jackson, Duran for Glasnow, it's a no for me, dog. I got to shut that one down. I really, really do. Okay, another thing that's kind of Dodgers adjacent that I want to fill you in on is Tatsuya Imai does not have a firm offer, and he's got 4 days left before his deadline for when he can sign with team as far as his posting window. That is pretty interesting. Of course, this is the guy that a couple weeks ago said that he didn't want to sign with the Dodgers and that he wanted to beat the Dodgers. And, of course, he was tongue-in-cheek. He wasn't really sending a shot at the Dodgers. He knew that there was not a spot for him on this team because of how stacked this rotation is. Well, hey, if you're going to trade someone out of that rotation for an outfielder, would this be a potential option as that window closes? Because he only has until January 2nd to sign with a big league team before that window closes. And he's not making a lot of progress. It is definitely something to note for sure. I mean, there was a post that he was kind of keeping it really upfront about where he's going, and it says, it seems that there aren't really any specific candidates coming up unexpectedly, and having interest from a team and a formal offer are apparently completely different things. So in that situation, I'm thinking of trying to make the best choice with family to consider as well and make a good decision. That is what Imai said in an interview, and this interview was translated in English. So he's saying, hey, there's not a lot of offers out there. So he has been a really good pitch in the MPB, 8 years with the Cebu Lions, 3 All-Star teams, a 3.15 ERA, 963 2/3 innings. But he's been dominant the last 3 years. He's been fantastic over there. We know that translates. I mean, that skill, that level of production we saw from Yamamoto. We saw glimpses of it last year with Roki Sasaki. We've seen Kodai Senga and Shota Imanaga. I mean, there's plenty of examples that these pitchers can come from the MPB to MLB and be top 10 to 15 pitchers right out of the gates, right off the rip. So who knows? I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not basing this off anything that I'm hearing or anything like that. But I just want to throw it out there that who knows if the Dodgers were entertaining the idea of trading from that surplus of pitchers and Imai didn't get any offers that he was looking for, wouldn't it be the funniest thing ever if he ultimately signed with the Dodgers after all that? It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I'm not saying that's going to happen or anything, but it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. And the big question is, why hasn't a team signed him? I mean, I think it makes sense for a lot of teams. He's still just 27 years old. And he has drawn interest from the New York Yankees and some other teams this offseason, but he needs to make a decision very soon and get an offer soon because we're running out of time on Imai. So that's where we're at with that one. Now, all right, quickly, I've got 10 big questions that the Dodgers need to still answer this offseason. And we spent a lot of time diving into these topics on a deep dive level, on the granular level. But we're just going to throw those out there for anyone that's just kind of post-Christmas, maybe getting back into the nitty-gritty with Dodger baseball. And we're going to kind of do these quick hitter style, and we'll see how many of these get answered and when they do get answered. We'll also have some exclusive content from Tommy Edman, who gave us a quick update about his recovery from his surgery as he was at a signing event a couple weeks ago. So first big question, 1, will they sign a big free agent? Sounds basic, but it's worth asking. Will they sign a big free agent? That's the first question. And if they do, which one is it? Will Kyle Tucker fall into their lap on a deal because he doesn't see that 10 or 11-year deal out there, and he still wants to make $300 to $400 million? So does he pivot to a deal with the Dodgers on a high AAV per year deal, or he can opt out after every season? And in the perfect scenario is he comes to LA, has an all-star year, Silver Slugger, helps them win another World Series, stays healthy, and then re-enters the market 29-30, gets that massive payday he's looking for. Then there's Cody Bellinger. There's been a lot of talk about his market. There was a wild story that he was looking for $400 million, and his agent, Scott Boras, he made the Forbes writer retract that. Does a reunion with Cody Bellinger happen? Do the Belly Evers, don't stop Belly even? Does the Cody Love gang get their guy back? And then Bo Bichette, who out of all the free agents that are still available, if I was going to sign one, I would sign Bo Bichette because you can rake and you can throw him at second base. You can move to third base later. He's already said he's open to play second base. I look at Mookie and I look at Bo Bichette. I look at supplementing some offense. You might lose the Mookie with Bo Bichette in his prime. He's young. He's a great player. We saw what he did in the World Series. Had 8 hits. Had the big 3-run bomb off of Shohei in Game 7. Show Bichette is a dog, and he rakes. Then there's the next tier. Do you consider a Harrison Bader type of signing? Someone that bridges the gap, kind of gets you to the next couple years. He's a defense-first guy. He had his best offensive season last season. He's definitely not the caliber of a Bichette or a Bellinger or a Tucker. No way, shape, or form. But that's another guy that could be a signing potential. I don't expect it to be, but that's the first big question. Will they sign a big free agent, or are they done working at the top of the market? Will Edwin Diaz be their big free agent signing this offseason? All things considered, if they find a way to make a trade for an outfielder, I think that you could still give them an A offseason if they are able to accomplish that. Then that's the second big question this offseason that they still have to answer. Number 2 is, will they trade for a position player? And who will that position player be? Will it be the aforementioned Jarren Duran? Will it be a Steven Kwan, who they were linked with at the trade deadline that there's been whispers about in the industry for a long time? Will it be a Brendan Donovan, who they've been linked to, but now the Red Sox have been linked to him heavily? Will it be a Lars Nootbaar, who the Dodgers were linked to? Could it be a name that has a higher upside play, like a Luis Robert Jr.? Could Byron Buxton's name be available as the season approaches? Right now, the answer is no from the Twins organization, who have made it clear they're going to try to contend. They want to win with Byron Buxton. But that's the second biggest question. Will they trade for a position player? Now, you look at the current outfield situation. Teoscar Hernandez, there was some talk that, hey, could they trade him? Would they move him? Then the organization kind of said that, hey, it's probably going to be Teo still in 2026. And Dave Roberts, he did, I think, carefully say that Teoscar Hernandez is our right fielder for now, which means that it's not 100%, but the odds are they're going to keep him. Wouldn't be completely shocked if they moved him. I would keep him because I think his bat is so valuable in the postseason. I think a perfect world for him is you have the DH spot available, but that's not going to happen here. But you look at the rest of the outfield picture. Andy Pages in the second half of the season was a league average bat. He had a 100 weighted runs created plus after the All-Star break last year. And then you got Teoscar Hernandez, who was just a couple points above league average offensively. Then you have Tommy Edman coming back off of ankle surgery. Then you have Alex Call. Mookie Betts is not going back to right field. You could have Ryan Ward as a potential option that they could explore. The Dodgers minor league standout outfielder who was the PCL player of the year, who he knows can absolutely rake with the best of them. There's no doubt about that. But what will they do with him? But basically what you're saying right now is if the Dodgers ran it back, the way things were standing for a good majority of that season, you had a below-average defender in right field in Teo. In left field, you had Michael Conforto, who was a bust. Kike Hernandez was injured most of the year. Alex Call is not an everyday left fielder. And then you have Andy Pages, who fits better in right than center. So guess what? they're going to add an outfielder. I'd be absolutely stunned if they did. In fact, they cannot earn an A grade for me this offseason unless they acquire another outfielder. The Dodgers have been bottom third in the league when it comes to outfield production at the plate. They need to add an outfielder, preferably one that allows Andy Pages to go to right field where he could win a Gold Glove. Yes, Pages is still really good in center at times, and he improved a lot last year, but the bat was not great after the All-Star game. It wasn't. I mean, it was good. It wasn't great. It was dead league average. And then who knows what kind of year you're going to get from Teoscar Hernandez. If it's more of the same from last year, then you're really in trouble. And if Tommy Edman gets injured again, then you're really in trouble. So that's the second big question. Do they trade for a position player, and if so, who? Jarren Duran, Stephen Kwan, Brandon Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, Robert Jr., Byron Buxton. Third big question. Will they break baseball with a Tarek Skubal trade? Now, there was a rumor by David Pingalore, who's a sports anchor for KTLA here in Los Angeles, about 5 minutes from my house here in Hollywood, and it was the big talk of the winter meetings. Everyone's talking about it. Tarek Skubal could be imminent, could be this and that, and then the thing died down, and then the thing fizzled, and no one's talking about it. So I'm not saying that he's a fraud or anything like that. I think that he was probably getting accurate information about conversations between the Dodgers and the Tigers, because the Dodgers are a team that would have the kind of pieces that the Tigers would need to execute a deal, whether it be prospect capital, with the Dodgers having the number one farm system or at least top five, depending on which list you're looking at, with high upside play, and also big league ready talent, right? Guys like Tyler Glasnow and Dalton Rushing, things like that. So it didn't happen. The deal never materialized. He said a deal could have been done imminently at the winter meetings. Never happened. And then, of course, you got the winter break, and pretty much the MLB industry shuts down from Christmas till the first of the year. So we'll see if more rumors will surface and what that means. But the bottom line is it has not happened. We'll see if it does pick up, but that still would be a major question. Would they break baseball by adding Tarek Skubal? You think the haters are mad now? The haters would go into full-blown peak hate mode, and their tears would be delicious. But just imagine that if they pull it out. Then the fourth big question, will they trade Teoscar Hernandez? We talked about that a little. After the rumors came out, you had Andrew Friedman, you had Brandon Gomes, you had Dave Roberts essentially say that they intend to keep him. I don't think it's 100%. I think they're always going to be opportunistic and leave the door open depending on what's available. I mean, Teo has a couple years left on his contract, and he's an extremely, extremely valuable postseason bat. I think if you hide him in left field just a little bit, yes, he can hurt you, but not as much as in right field, where a double becomes a triple. In left field, a double's a double unless something really goes wrong, right? So that's another big question. Then the fifth big question, what is Tommy Edman's role going to be? When is he going to come back? How is he going to come back? Will that be a slow process? Well, he did an autograph signing a couple weeks ago, and Dodgers Nation was there, and they asked Tommy Edman about it and his recovery process, how that was going. Here's what Tommy had to say.
Yeah, it's going well. Just kind of recovering day at a time, slowly but surely. I think I got to be in the booth for a couple more weeks and then get moving around, around Christmas time, and hopefully be 100% for next year. And, it just means a lot. I get to meet all the fans who supported us throughout the year, and it's a really special opportunity, and it makes me even more grateful for all the support that we have throughout the year.
So there's Tommy Edman, and talking about that. Now, I think Edman, you look at that first 24 games, he had 8 home runs, slugging .576. Only 2 players had hit more home runs than Tommy Edman, and we were towards the end of April, at April 22nd. He was going to make an all-star team. He was. And then he started to struggle towards the end of April. He was hitting under 200 for a long stretch, and then he missed 16 games. He missed 16 games due to that ankle injury, and he just never was the same player last year. He just wasn't. He definitely struggled at times. He ends up coming back, and his final 11 games of the season hit 209, The World Series, he had 143. I mean, overall last year, he hit 225 with 13 home runs, 1.2 F-WAR, was basically a one-WAR player, had an 81 weighted runs created plus, so he was 19% below league average. One of the questions the Dodgers need to answer is, what are we getting with Tommy Edman? Because you gave that extension in year one, it was not a good contract. Below average offensively, was injured, and the question is, what is his role going to be? If he comes back, like they have said, and Brandon Gomes and Andrew Friedman said he's going to be ready for the start of spring training, are they going to feel confident enough in throwing him in center field, or is he going to be a second baseman and you get Tommy Edman at second and Mookie Betts at shortstop? Well, I've got news for you. If you told the Dodgers before they signed Tommy Edman to that contract extension that his value to the team was being just an everyday second baseman and not going to be someone that could play in the outfield, they wouldn't have signed him to that contract. No way. So they have to ask the question, hey, are we going to force throwing him in center field just because we sign him for that positional versatility, or are we going to just say, hey, second base Tommy Edman is better than no Tommy Edman? I think that my hope is that the surgery went well, the rehab goes well, and that he just puts these problems behind him and he can be that everyday player that's out there, and you can throw him at any position on the diamond, essentially, center field, second base, shortstop, third base. That's why he got that contract and his ability to come up big in the postseason. So that is kind of what I'm looking for. They need to answer that question. What do you do with Tommy Edman? What is the best way to keep him healthy and find a position where he stays on the field? Because year one was not a good deal. Let's see if in year two he can make them look like it was the right decision to sign to that extension. Then that's number 7 too. Number six. Will they sign Kike Hernandez? And just speaking to my sources at the winter meetings kind of around, Kike is going to be back with the Dodgers. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this topic. I mean, I asked Andrew Friedman about this in Orlando, and he said the door is always open for Kike, but he did say this to me, though. He said the door is always open for Kike Hernandez, but that he's sure that the door is open for Kike Hernandez on other teams. So that's what he said, that, hey, other teams might want him too, and we'll see what he does, and it's always going to be what's the best deal for him and his family. So we'll see what happens with Kike and the Dodgers, but I'm here to tell you that he'll be a Dodger. I don't even see him playing with another team unless he really wants to extend his career for a long time, but Kike will be back, and they'll sign him close to the start of spring training so he can go on that 60-day IL. Next big question, what is Dalton Rushing's role going to be on this roster? I asked Dave Roberts about this, and he told me that next year they expect him to get even more opportunities behind the dish because of how well that worked with keeping Will Smith fresh. Just look at Will Smith catching every single inning in the World Series and all the extra innings games and still having it in him to hit that go-ahead home run in extras. So there's that. But do they try to work in some outfield? Does he play some first base and they convince Freddie Freeman to take some days off? Because he is going to need plate appearances and reps if you want that bat to be consistent and to develop. So what is the plan for Dalton Rushing? Is it to be a backup catcher? So you mean to tell me this? You mean to tell me your former top prospect's ceiling is to be your backup catcher? That doesn't. Justin Bieber would say that's not clocking or something, right? It ain't clocking with me. I think that you either have to develop him to trade him, find another spot for him, have Will Smith find another spot or something, but I don't think that that's the way to get the best value out of him. But I think that the next step and the most important step, and all this is a moot point if he doesn't hit, is to find a way to get him the at-bats, the plate appearances, to see if that electric bat that can identify pitches out of the zone. You can see 3, 4, 5 pitches per at bat, but hit the ball hard. If that identifies, if that translates, that starts to open things up for Dalton Rushing. Because 1, you'll want more playing time. 2, his value will be better if you're going to trade him. So that's the big question. How do you make Dalton Rushing fit on this roster better than just being a backup catcher? Because he needs more reps to grow into the player that we know he's capable of being. Next big question, number 7. No, this is number 8 now. Who's their second baseman going to be? And is it going to be Bo Bichette? This kind of goes back to the other questions, but is Tommy Edman going to be your everyday second baseman? Does Bo Bichette get that job if you sign him? Because I think not a lot of people are talking about second base. Is Mookie still going to be at short, which I think he will be? Does he go to second base and you put someone at short? I think right now the answer is no. But who knows? If Mookie feels like, hey, I proved myself that, I'll just go back to the original plan at second base because we have people that can play that position. Is that a possibility? And then the 9th question, the final rotation spots. We need to talk more about this. It is not discussed enough. The rotation locks for the Dodgers right now: Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Shohei Ohtani. That would leave 4 pitchers for 2 spots if you're going 6-man rotation. Gavin Stone's coming back from injury. River Ryan's coming back from injury. Emmet Sheehan and Roki Sasaki are already there. So what does that mean for those guys? I mean, what if River Ryan, who, if you haven't yet, go back and watch my interview with River Ryan. It's one of my favorite ones I've done recently. He opened up a lot and talked a lot about the confidence that he has in being a part of this rotation. River Ryan has the confidence to compete for his spot. What if River Ryan outpitches Emmet Sheehan? What does that mean? Gavin Stone. You think Gavin Stone's going to the bullpen after the year he had before he went injured? No. And what does that mean for Roki Sasaki? Because they're going to give Roki Sasaki every opportunity to compete for a spot. Roki Sasaki came here, went through all the ridicule and criticism of leaving the way he did, the Chibalote Marines, to be a starting pitcher. And yes, he was electric as a reliever and a closer, but they are not going to get there until he fails for a long time as a starter. He is going to get his opportunities as a starting pitcher. And we know that it was not pretty at the beginning. It wasn't. He had his issues. He did. I mean, we're going to do a deep dive on Roki, but he totally changed his mechanics. They overhauled those mechanics. There was a really, really good piece about this that was done by Jeff Passan, where they talked about how after those early season struggles where the strikeout rate was down and you saw him getting emotional and things like that, that they got to the bottom of it when he got healthy, 1, and 2, re-engage that lower half. This is from the piece. This is from the piece from Jeff Passan. It says, for months, officials throughout the organization had worked to gain Sasaki's trust, cognizant of how loath he was to offer it. President of Baseball Operations, Andrew Friedman, General Manager Brandon Gomes, and Manager Dave Roberts all had let Sasaki know they hadn't lost faith, even as he'd gone from the major league rotation to minor league mediocrity. They would provide whatever tools he needed as the season went on. And then Rob Hill and Walsh, they broke down the answers. They emerged with a suite of options to help fix the issues. They believe that Sasaki's troubles stemmed from his pelvis tipping forward, which caused him to rotate too early. During the pitching delivery, energy builds in the body, ripples up the arm, and is projected onto the ball at release. Any disruption, even something that goes unnoticed by the naked eye, can wreak havoc. And with Sasaki, that havoc equaled 7 miles per hour of fastball velocity going AWOL. I mean, it's really interesting stuff. This is how we're going to say on September 5th, Hill and Walsh presented their analysis. In particular, they believed the set position of Sasaki's back leg would fix when ailed him. And that is what ultimately ailed him. During the deposition, Sasaki had shown them videos from the 2022 and 2023 seasons when his stuff was at its best and his back leg wasn't nearly as extended. By flexing the back leg with his knee starting over his toes, Sasaki would avoid hinging his pelvis and delay it from dragging his center mass forward too early, which prevented his front leg from having enough time to stabilize. rotating the pelvis early is just death to everything. So, I mean, the rest is history. And we're going to do a deeper dive on Roki and the turnaround. But, I mean, he was phenomenal at times after that. He was a dog in the postseason. So if that carries over into 2026 and he picks up where he left off, that's another rotation spot. So that means you got Emmet Sheehan, River Ryan, and Gavin Stone competing for the 6th spot. So do they move one of those guys? Do they keep them? And what do they do? It's a major, major question that they still have to answer this off season. It's a major question they have to answer this off season. And that's a question too. You could say a sub question for Roki Sasaki is he a starter? The answer is yes. I'll answer that for them. They're going to go that route. So the 10th final question is, how does the bench look and who do they add to that bench? I think from what I've heard and things like that, that's an area where you could get younger. You could get younger on the bench. You still have Alex Call. You still have Miguel Rojas, who's already back. You're going to have Kike back at some point. Does Ryan Ward get that opportunity? Dalton Rushing's going to be on that bench. So do you add another guy? Michael Conforto's gone. He won't be back. His market has completely been non-existent for the most part. And kind of what do you do with those spots? I think the last big question, too, is what is the plan for Josue DePaula? Are you going to have him set on a trajectory where he makes his debut in 2026? And how much do you believe in that? I think some other questions. Evan Phillips, are they going to bring him back? If they do, I think that'd be a major sneaky reacquisition because I've heard he looks really good. He feels really good. He expects to be someone that when healthy can be a high leverage guy. And if you're getting him back, Tanner Scott bounces back. Blake trying to get some from him. Brusdar Graterol comes back. Alex Vesia, Anthony Bonda, and then with the addition of Edwin Diaz, then you really have the makings of what could be an absolute elite bullpen in 2026. So that's another big question as well, is do you sign Evan Phillips, which I think they absolutely have to, especially with guys like Pete Fairbanks falling off the board. It doesn't feel like, at least right now, they're going to make that Kirby Yates signing like they did last year, where you signed Tanner Scott for $72 million, and then you shocked everyone by signing Kirby Yates on a one-year, $13 million deal. It feels like their big reliever acquisitions are gone now because everyone's off the table. They feel good about some internal options, and then they feel like they have some bounce-back guys as well. But, okay, those are the 10 big questions and some bonus questions just to get you caught up on Dodger baseball. By the way, Andrew Heaney, the Heen dog, retired. Andrew Heaney. Love me some Andrew Heaney. Andrew Heaney announced his retirement from the game of baseball. Of course, Andrew Heaney, a Dodgers legend twice, if you know what I mean. He actually came back a third time, which is exciting for him. And hey, he goes out as a Los Angeles Dodger. He goes out as a Los Angeles Dodger. Andrew Heaney, you ain't nothing but a Heen dog. He is going to be getting a World Series ring. So that's exciting stuff. So he announced his retirement after 12 major league seasons, 34 years old. On all of his social medias, he released a statement that read, "I will miss the game greatly, but all of my experiences and the lasting relationships have made me a better person. The routine of showing up to the yard every day and working to improve each time out has been a driving force for me. I am now ready to return my focus and energy to being a husband, father, family man, and active member of my community. I'm retiring from baseball, but I hope to give back more than I received. Thank you for all that you've done and for your love and support that you've given me. You know who you are." So, yeah, he spent his last season with the Pirates and the Dodgers, a 5.52 ERA in 122 1/3 innings. But, yeah, nice career, Andrew Heaney. I mean, he definitely is going to go in the hall of guys that are far from the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, but full pension, got that money in the bank, got that World Series ring. You're living the dream, Heen dog. But all right, now it's your time to shine, Dodgers Nation. Let's get to the 7th inning stretch. I want all your thoughts, comments, and questions about your boys in blue. Any hot takes, any wild ideas, funny stuff. You know I love that. But here, let's do it next on the 7th inning stretch.
The 7th inning stretch.
D-Mac and his dad jokes. Yeah, what up? What up, Nando? Damn, Heaney looks way older than 34. What's up, yay? We got Miss Lolabella. I liked him piggyback when we had Tyler Anderson. Yeah, those were the days, man. The Heen dog. And you know what's funny about Heaney? When he was in that one trade, he had that awesome tweet. It was 11 years ago when he had that tweet where he was on the Dodgers for basically a couple hours, and he was thankful for it. So basically what happened was he was moving with a couple different teams. He went from the Marlins to the Dodgers in the D. Gordon, Dan Herron deal, and then was flipped to the Angels for Howie Kendrick. And then he went to Twitter and he tweeted, "Well, Dodgers, we had a good run. Great to be a part of such a storied franchise. Hashtag thanks for the memories." That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that, man. Andrew Heaney's got jokes, man. So he would eventually make his way to the Dodgers, which was pretty cool a couple different times. And, he had his little run. But there's zero chance of – we got a super chat here, $5 from J.Y. Kim. Thank you, D-Mac, for your rational take on Roki. It almost feels like some fans and Dodgers media people want to see him fail as a starter. You know I love me the Roki of the year, baby. Still possible. The T-shirt's still available at gearup.la. Nando, if I could retire early, I'd just live a Wolf of Wall Street lifestyle. I could see Nando crawling into the Countach Lamborghini when he's on the Quaaludes. It's the FBI! FBI! Remember, and he rips the phone from Jonah Hill. Great stuff. D-Mac, we need an off-season shoey. Yeah, I might have to do that. I like that. Kopech greater than signed Banda from Dodgers Live. Yes, bring Phillips back. Joseph, what's up? Sheriff, I hope the Dodgers can land Duran, but Lance Lynn just gave up a home run on N64. Wow. Anyone get the Switch too? You can play N64 on, I think, right? What's up, Roseman Carino? BC Banda, been great 2 years in a row. The front office is smart enough to know one bad series doesn't change that, thankfully. Yeah, no, Banda's he's solid for sure. He's got Instagram now, too. D-Mac was the only one who believed in Roki. Hey, man, I've been knowing about Roki for a long time, and I do believe in his talent. I mean, I think I might have gone a little far when I said that he could be the Dodgers version of Paul Skeens, but that tells you the belief that I have always had in Roki Sasaki, the monster of the Reiwa era. D-Mac misses Conforto, LOL, JK. Roseman, Carino, really? You going to do that to me? Come on. I forgot what I did to take my L on Conforto. If you guys want me to do something else to take my L on Conforto, I will. We've got DePaula going to look good for the Tigers after the Tarek Skubal trade from Nando. Hey, that's someone that you have to think long and hard for a guy like that, especially if it came with at least a wink handshake deal on a potential long-term extension for sure. 5 regular season starters, and they throw in the 6th spot and rotate the other available starting pitchers. River, Hurts, Sasaki. Yes, Kyle Hurts, another guy that I think is going to help this team, whether that be as a spot starter, getting some opportunities if guys get injured, and then he's filthy. I talked to Dave Roberts towards the end of last season, and there was talk about using Kyle Hurt in the postseason as a reliever. It just never got to that point. So I know they're very high on Kyle Hurt, and he's another guy that makes me feel like, hey, you don't need to go out there and sign another reliever because there are some internal options of guys that could fill that role for sure. Was the Heen Dog a Dodgers legend? I don't know if I go that far. Damn, Heaney looks way older. Yeah. Let's go some more down below. I kind of miss Conforto, but wow. This is the comment of the show. I kind of miss Fordo, but I'll get over it. LOL. Yeah, this one hurts, right? Michael Conforto, it's going to be, I don't know, man. Like the Corey Seager gang, right? Oh, we're so sad. 90% of Bonda fans wore high heels. What does that even mean? Joseph, D-Mac, who has a better year, the lineup as it is now or the bullpen if Scott and Diaz have an all-star year? It's a good question. I think if both those guys have all-star years and are dominant, you could see a bullpen that's elite, but here's the thing. The Dodgers lineup still has higher upside because you have Shohei Ohtani. Because you have some questions, too. Will Freddie and Mookie still be in their primes? Will they still hit like they're in their primes? Will Teo have a bounce back year? Will Will Smith stay healthy? Will Max Muncy avoid that early season slump like we saw last season? So there are questions for sure. But I think the kicker there is Shohei Ohtani. But the fact that we're even talking about the Dodgers having an elite bullpen and knowing they have the pieces to have an elite bullpen, I think that speaks to the possibility of it being a reality. So I like that. Hey, D-Mac, is Quan still in the mix? Brandon Willett? I think he potentially is. I don't think that they're going to trade the farm for Quan, but like I've always said on this show, when the Dodgers express interest in players, they can play the long game with them. I mean, Mookie Betts is a guy they've had interest in a long time, and they ultimately got him a couple years after. Tommy Edman is a perfect example of a guy they've really appreciated from afar, and when they had a chance to get him, they picked him up and they extended him. So when the Dodgers have their eye on you for long periods of time, it doesn't happen all the time. Juan Soto is one they liked and never got, but they were definitely very interested in. I think things changed when they got their guys, but still, I mean, they have their guys, and they have guys that they like on other teams that if there's an opportunity there to strike, they take advantage and they capitalize on that opportunity. Quaz will be this is from Dan Kwan, will be a massive overpay. Cleveland is a playoff contender. BC should have kept Honeywell, too, over Luis Garcia, who sucked. By the way, you see Brent Honeywell? Brent Honeywell was throwing. He was throwing against some backyard somewhere. So, love me some Dodgers legend, Brent Honeywell. I miss the mullet. I miss the turtleneck. I miss the chains. I love Brent Honeywell. Gonna miss Conforto went to Diddy parties, keep him out. Come on, bruh. No, haha, D-Mac didn't get it. Oh, my bad. Must have not got that one. I'll read back. Sorry, Mario. Roseman, D-Mac, when are you getting Michael Doherty on again? Love the vibes between you two and the guys in the chat. Hey, man, I talk to him all the time. We'll get him on at some point. It's a little low on the Dodgers news standpoint right now, but, yeah, Duarte's, he always makes me laugh, man. 0 for 4 got me every time. Yeah, 0 for 4 though. The one that got me is when you guys used to call him Confardo or the Con. Come on, man. You guys are crazy. All right, guys, so running out of time, so let's get to the walk-off.
The walk-off.
Hits the ball to right field. She is gone!
All right, today for the walk-off, I found this pretty interesting. I don't know if you saw this, but in the wild card round where Dave Roberts came in and he ended up taking out Emmet Sheehan mid at bat, he takes out Emmet Sheehan to go to Alex Vesia. Well, what happened next is pretty interesting. And that is the fact that Alex Vesia ends up striking out Andujar. But what happened is the way that things played out, that ended up being a strikeout against the other batter. So basically you had runners on first and second. It was the wild card round against the Cincinnati Reds. You had runners on first and second, 1 out in the 8th inning. Emmet Sheehan had Will Benson of the Cincinnati Reds on a 1-2 count. Dave Roberts comes out. He takes the ball. He brings in Alex Vesia mid-plate appearances. And then Terry Francona, he pinch hit for Benson with a right-handed batter. And the result was a matchup with Alex Vesia and Miguel Andujar, 2 new players, 1 pitcher and 1 batter, with a 1-ball count and 2 strikes. And then ultimately, Alex Vesia threw a high fastball to Andujar. He swung and missed. That went for the second out of the inning. He ended up walking Matt McKain, then came back to strike out TJ Friedl. That ended the inning. But because of that, Alex Vesia ended up striking out the previous batter, Benson, without ever throwing him a pitch. So the way the rules lay out, it's Rule 915, and the rule goes when a batter leaves the game with 2 strikes against him and the substitute batter completes a strikeout, the official scorer shall charge the strikeout and the time at bat to the first batter. If the substitute batter completes the turn at bat in any other manner, including a base on balls, the official scorer shall score the action as having been that of the substitute batter. So basically, if you come in, you mess up, it's not your fault, right? So Alex Vesia got credit for striking out Will Benson, but never threw a pitch. I don't know about you, that kind of stuff, it definitely blows my mind. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you want to do me the biggest favor, subscribe to my new channel, the LA Sports Report. All the hottest stories in all of LA sports: Dodgers, Lakers, Rams, Chargers, UCLA, USC. It's all going down at the LA Sports Report. Got an interview with CBS NBA insider Sam Quinn later. I'm going to drop that. Also, join the Discord. Also, go to gearup.la for all the best Dodgers merch in the game. Definitely, if you want to support that, is the place. But that is going to do it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit that like button on your way out. And remember that nothing, absolutely nothing, brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring, rest assured, once again, it will be time for Dodger baseball.